Hi, it's David Stem with the Screenwriter's Forge. I started a new workshop this week, and one of the things that's come across to me that's really important to writers, and I don't think this gets enough emphasis, that is, you got to be writing something that matters to you, not something that you think is going to sell. Yeah, you want it to sell, but if it doesn't matter to you deep down, you're not going to put in the time to make it worth anybody else's time. I've had writers come in and say, oh, I hate horror, but I wrote horror because, Backrooms or Obsession did well. I can tell you right now, your script sucks, right? I don't need to read your script. It sucks because you don't love the genre. You got to write something that's in a genre that you love, that's about characters you love, but just as importantly, it's got to be about a theme that you love, whether it's about loss, like in Finding Nemo, like even in comedies. This is one of the things I want to talk about, comedies. Like, comedies have to be grounded in something real. You look at Toy Story 2, which I talk about a lot. Toy Story 2 is Woody being given the chance to go live in a museum forever with the Roundup gang, because the prospector tells him, that what are you going to do when Andy goes off? He's going to go off to college. He's going to go get married. He's going to leave you behind. And Woody has to come to the realization that this little utopia that he lives in, where he's Andy's favorite toy, is going to end. And the reason this matters is because this is a topic that is somewhere in the heart of every audience member out there. Is it worth loving deeply if loving deeply is inevitably going to lead to loss, right? I mean, there's two ways things go if you love somebody deeply. Either one or both of you die, or you get, break up. Those are your two options. The way it's expressed to Woody is, what do you think is going to happen when he goes off to college or when he goes on his honeymoon? So Woody ends up making a choice to stay with Andy and to go back to him, knowing now that there is going to be pain at the end of this road, and he accepts it fully. And only by accepting fully the pain that's involved in the relationships that we have, in the good that we accept into our lives, can we really accept it truly. That is something that is very, very powerful about these animated movies. And at the heart of whatever you're writing, there's got to be a really powerful idea. You can have Buzz Lightyear run around and Gorg or Grog, or I forgot what the villain's name is in the movie. You can have all sorts of really cool shit go on in your movie, but if it's not ultimately really deeply about something, the audience isn't going to care. So why am I saying this? Because time and time again, people come to me and they've read Save the Cat, and they've filled in their beat sheets, and they've written their scripts, and they have something that's technically correct, but emotionally inside, it's just dead. They don't know it, and they keep trying to tweak it. They keep trying to fuck around with structure and all that shit, trying to figure out, is the second act twist not landing? Nobody's getting to your second act twist, most likely, because the truth is your first 10 pages probably didn't bring them in, because it's not really about anything. People aren't looking for clever. Agents may not articulate this, producers may not articulate this, but they're looking for a voice. They're looking for a point of view. They're looking for a script that takes them deep into emotional territory that other scripts don't. Think about Finding Nemo. Good God. His wife and kids all get killed, and then he's got this one little fish with the faulty fin who swims off into oblivion. That's a terrible movie about loss and about the fear of letting go and not having control over your children. Every parent has faced that nightmare of, like, how do I let my kid go out into this world? And that's what Marlin has to do with Nemo. It's the reason why the movie resonates. And I talk about this over and over. You've got to have a primal drive behind your story, something that every member of the audience deeply cares about, and they don't even realize it, right? Shrek, not a movie about an ogre. Shrek is a movie about a bachelor who's got a man cave. That man cave in this case happens to be a swamp and a weird little hut out in the woods that some fairy tale creatures show up to. But really, this movie is about a bachelor. It's about every bachelor in the audience, every wannabe bachelor in the audience, and how we have this delusion that we're going to live on our own and be happy, right? But into Shrek's life comes a reason that he has to go and meet Fiona. And when he meets Fiona, he doesn't meet a princess. who turns into an ogre. He meets a woman who is like every woman in the audience, and that is, this is somebody who can dress up, they can put on makeup, they can fix their hair, but inside they might feel insecure and they feel ugly inside. That's why she turns into an ogre. So it's only by revealing these sides of ourselves that we find out what it is to be loved, when here's the ugly part of me. So whether it's Shrek revealing that or Fiona revealing that, ultimately this is a mirror for everybody in the audience so that they can relate to your story. That's why they love these characters. They don't love the characters because it's an ogre, right? They don't love a swamp. They love that there's this parallel to their own lives running through the course of the movie. This is one of the things I talk about in my workshop. I talk about it in my coaching sessions, and I want to bring it to as many writers as I can. I see way too many books that are written about screenwriting out there that are way too surface level about plot mechanics and the like. Plot's great. We got to have plot, obviously. Structure's great. We're going to have structure. But structure's got to be the loose cage that barely contains the wild animal that is your story. And by what I mean is what I mean by that is you've got to have a beating heart at the center of your story, or else you don't have anything. So if you're interested in this, come see me at the Screenwriters Forge, or just stay tuned here and learn more as we go along. I'm just interested in exploring. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I just started coaching last year because my daughter went off to NYU. She moved in today. She's a sophomore, and she kept telling me, you need to teach. And she said, you need to teach because you've got more experience than these professors at all of these schools I've visited. And on the other hand, you also talk about creativity in a way that nobody else talks about it. I didn't realize I was talking to her about creativity in any sort of special way. I was just telling her how I go out and pitch things. Like I'm banging my head against the wall trying to figure things out so I can go get a job and pay the mortgage. That's what a professional does. A professional figures out solutions to problems. They don't live inspired by a muse. They live with a determination and a day-to-day work ethic where they build stories one index card at a time, and I want to take you through that journey. If you're creative, if you're looking to explore the side of yourself that is yearning to do something that's deeper, that's more interesting than what you've been doing, if you're like me, look, when I got out of college, I had some talent. I could write, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I was kind of a wild buck out there. And I would write these stories and people would say, oh, it's really funny. There's some great stuff in here. It's kind of all over the map. And so I kind of had to learn how to build that map. But luckily, early on, I learned how to build that sort of wild animal of a story. And as I began to learn structure and how to tame that wild animal a little, I learned how not to tame it too much and to keep it being something that was alive and brought the audience back time and time again. I forgot to mention who I am. I'm Dave Stem, writer on Shrek 2, Jimmy Neutron, Disenchanted, 2.5 billion in box office, and I run something called the Screenwriters Forge on School, where if you're looking for honest advice from a pro who's been around doing it at the highest level for years, come see me there. Let's get you on your feet as a writer with a real point of view that matters, right? Not just writing a script. Anybody can write a script. Anybody can type out 105 pages, fill in a bunch of beats and call it a script. And it'll look like a script to most people. But to the trained eye, to somebody who knows what a script is, it's not really a script. It's 105 pages of typing. So let's not do that. Let's come find out what that story is really inside you, what's burning inside of you to tell a story. And let's learn how to tell a story that matters, whether it's a comedy, whether it's adventure, whether it's science fiction. I mean, good God, think about Terminator. Every woman I know loves Terminator. You know what they don't love? They don't love violent pictures where robots kill a bunch of people. But they love Terminator because Terminator is about something much more than that, much more core than that. James Cameron did a masterful job of creating a story everybody in the audience could relate to. So whether it's Terminator or Toy Story, you've got to have something that is deep and has a primal drive to it that everybody in the audience relates to. That's how you build not just a movie, but a career. So come see me at the Screenwriters Forge and let's get to work building your screenplay out if you're interested in that. Okay? Thanks.